I personally believe that through the Umayyad and Abbasid periods, the early Muslims came into conflict with the Byzantine Empire, for instance, and that over time, the vision of Islam about the other was narrowed as a result of these conflicts. In some instances, it's war propaganda. Want the enemy to be the enemy, to be viewed as the enemy. So I think that the Quran spoke so highly of Heraclius and talked about his victory over the Iranians as a victory of God, maybe became a little bit of an embarrassment to the Abbasid Muslims who were at the front fighting Heraclius' successor, and didn't want the Byzantines to be able to make propaganda with the Quran. And so I think the words in the Quran changed their meaning dramatically over the next 200 or 300 years. And so Kafir in the Quran comes to mean for some Muslims, not all I don't think, but for some, any non-Muslim. Whereas I did a very intensive study of the use of the word kafir in the Quran, and I believe that it is never used in an unmodified way for anything but Hijazi pagans. That's what the word means. It means the pagans of the Hijaz at the time of the Prophet. It has other connotations. So for instance, at one point the Quran says that when rain comes and things get green, the kuffar get happy. Why are they happy that things are getting green? It's because in that verse, the word means farmer. It means peasant. But you know, in the time of the Quran, the people who had clung to the old gods typically were rustic, rural people, whereas the cities, you know, Damascus and Alexandria and so forth, had become bastions of monotheism. And so the word has many connotations, but it's a different word, by the way, than the verb kafara bi, which in the Quran means to deny or reject. The be is really important, the preposition. Just kafara by itself, the simple verb, has a different set of meanings than the phrasal verb with the preposition. So the simple verb, it means to be ungrateful. So the Pharaoh says to Moses, you know, we raised you in our household. Why are you kafir? Why are you ungrateful? It can mean rebellious. It can mean immoral, licentious. It can mean arrogant. It has lots of meanings. It doesn't mean rejecter. That's kafir abi. That's the phrasal verb. But then aladina kafiru, the phrase those who engaged in kufr, clearly in my view means Hijazi pagans. It means the Arabian tradition of paganism. It's a very narrow technical meaning. And it's never used for the Jews or Christians in that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what I was going to ask. I mean, is there no reference in the Quran in those terms referring to the Jews or the Christians?
No. The noun, aladina kafiru, or I mean the phrase, the verbal phrase, aladina kafiru, those who engaged in paganism, is how I would translate it. That phrase never refers to Jews or Christians in the Quran. Now, the verb kafara can be used, and the idea of kufr can be used for other monotheists if they go astray. But it can be used for Muslims too. So, for instance, in Medina, you have the Battle of Uhud. The later tradition at least characterizes these verses of the Quran as being about that. And at one point, the Quran rebukes some of Muhammad's own followers who didn't join in the battle. And they say, well, if we knew how to fight, we would have come out and helped. We're not fighters. We didn't have any skills about this. Well, of course, nobody did. They were all civilians in Medina. And the Quran rebukes them for this. He says, well, what's in your heart is not that day when they said that they would have come out if only they knew how to fight. They were closer to kufr than to iman. They were closer to paganism or blasphemy than they were to faith. So this verb, kafir, can be used, and it is used sometimes for Jews or Christians, but it's the act that's being condemned, not the person or the group. But when the Quran says alladina kafaru, those who paganized, it never uses that phrase for Jews or Christians. And al-kafirun, also the pagans, is never used for the Jews or the Christians. So, and you can see the contrast in the Quran itself. There's a surah, a chapter which addresses al-kafirun. And it says, we don't worship what you worship, and I have my religion, you have yours. Then there's another verse that addresses the Jews and Christians. It says, your God and our God are one God. We believe what was revealed to you and what was revealed to us. So how could you possibly believe that the Jews and the Christians could be al-kafirun, could be the same group as the pagans, when in the Quran itself, there's such a strong contrast between the way it talks about the two?
Yeah.
And then with regard to Islam, in the Quran, Islam does not mean the religion of the Prophet. It just doesn't. The religion of the Prophet is part of what Islam means, but the word does not mean the religion of the Prophet. And for this reason, the active verb, verbal noun, the gerund is Muslim. Well, all monotheists are called Muslim in the Quran. Abraham is a monotheist, is a Muslim. Moses is a Muslim. And the disciples of Jesus are called Muslim. So being a Muslim is something that predates Islam. It predates the religion of the Prophet.
And of course, there's also the sense in which entire creation is Muslim.
Yes, I mean it means acknowledging the oneness of God. Al-Islam means acknowledging the oneness of God, and I think it has a sense of the Abrahamic tradition. You would say in Urdu, Miras Ibrahimi. That's really what Islam means in the Quran. So, there's the point at which God addresses the Prophet and says, today I've made Islam your religion. And Muslims take that to mean, well, okay, everybody better be Muslim because God has made Islam the religion. But what it means in its original context is that the tradition of Abraham, the monotheistic tradition of the one God, which is exemplified in Judaism and Christianity as well, is also the religion of the Prophet. The religion of the Prophet is the latest in a series of iterations of this Abrahamic tradition.
Yeah. You were mentioning Surah Kafirun, which is, it's read in different ways, interestingly. There's, of course, one way of reading it can be, let's agree to disagree. I have my religion, you have yours. But there are also some readings which see it as, for example, Muslims also see it that way, but the scholar Rudy Parrott has also, sees it as a call for war, I think.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's Orientalism in my view. But Rudy Parrott was a great historian of the Quran and has many wonderful insights. But this particular point that he made I think, militarizes something that clearly isn't militant. And if you look through the Quran, there are many verses that say that, well, Prophet Muhammad, don't beat yourself up so much. Don't be so anxious about these pagans not following you. There's nothing you can do about it. You know, they have free will. They'll believe if they want to believe. They have their religion, and you can't coerce them. So I think that if you read the chapter in context of all the other things the Quran says about the Prophet's relationship to the pagans, that it's clear that what it's saying is they have their religion, we have ours. And then, you know, there's the Quran says in chapter 72 that, you know, if they taunt you, if they harass you, if they persecute you, withdraw from them graciously. Ihjaruhum jamilan. So there's many indications that that's what the Quran means when it says you have your religion and we have ours. It's a statement of social coexistence. Now the Quran is theologically a critic of paganism. It doesn't take the view that, well, you're welcome to your views and we're welcome to ours. You're not welcome to your views according to the Quran. Your views are wrong. But with regard to how people live in society together, well, you have your religion, we have ours.